Welcome to God's story. It's about people who lived long ago, thousands of years ago, and it's about people who live today. This story's about you, because we all have a part in God's story. Most of all, God's story is about Jesus. Jesus was there at the beginning, and He's with us right now. Jesus is the one who makes a way for us to be close to God, forever and ever and ever. Stay tuned to hear how Jesus is the Savior of the whole world, and how He can be your Savior too.
I'm so excited about seeing a movie today. Wait, did you get snacks? Because I want to go and get snacks. I'll have a medium popcorn and an icy. Oh, I think I want candy too. Did you get candy?
Yep, I got a bag of M&Ms. Just go ahead and get what you want. Let's go.
I think I'm going to get some M&Ms too. No, wait, maybe Milk Duds. No, I want M&Ms. Definitely M&Ms.
Can you please just make up your mind? I don't want to miss the previews.
The previews? Who cares about the previews? That's what comes on before the movie, and we're here for the movie.
I know we're here for the movie, but I love seeing the previews for the movies that are going to come out. It's like we get a little glimpse or a sneak peek of what movies are coming out soon and what they're going to be about. And then after that little glimpse, I get really excited about getting to see the whole movie in the future.
I never thought about it that way. Okay, let's skip the snacks and hurry up and go find our seats so we can watch those previews and the movie.
Jesus had a group of close friends called the 12 disciples, and they were the ones he spent the most time with. And among the disciples were 3 who were special to Jesus. Their names were Peter, James, and John, and they were his very best friends. One day, Jesus told them that they were going to go and pray. But instead of praying right where they were or praying in a garden, Jesus took them to pray high on a mountaintop. After the climb, they looked around and they could see the whole world, and it was amazing. But nothing would compare to what would happen next. Jesus started to pray, and as soon as he spoke, a bright, brilliant light surrounded him. He was shining, he was glowing. His face changed so he didn't even look the same. And the robe he wore was no longer dusty, but became a glistening white. There was so much brightness around Jesus that the disciples probably had to shade their eyes. And when they looked up again, they were amazed to see that Jesus was no longer alone. 2 other men were standing next to Jesus and talking to him like they were old friends. Could it be? It was! Elijah, the prophet from so long ago, and Moses, the one God used to free the Israelites from Egypt even longer ago. That's who Jesus was talking to. The disciples were stunned as they watched because both Elijah and Moses had been dead for hundreds of years. Then Peter said, "Jesus, do you want us to get some branches to make some shade for you?" But even before Peter had finished asking his question, a swift-moving cloud covered Jesus, Elijah, and Moses. And then the most amazing thing of all happened. A voice that belonged to God the Father himself boomed from heaven and said, "This is my son. I love him. Listen to him." Seeing Jesus clothed in light and seeing Elijah and Moses alive again, and then hearing God's own voice was all too much for the disciples. Peter, James, and John fell face down on the ground, shaking and terrified. Then they each felt the touch of Jesus as he gently told them, "You can get up now. Don't be afraid." And when they looked up, the cloud was gone, Elijah and Moses were gone, and there was no one there but Jesus, looking like his old self. He had on his same dusty robe, and he smiled the same kind smile he always did. Seeing Jesus in all of his glory and hearing the voice of God himself must have been amazing to the disciples. As they went back down the mountain, Jesus told them, his very best friends, "One day, I will rise from the dead. It will be a path that's painful and hard and full of suffering, but it will happen. For now, don't tell anyone what you just saw." The disciples were given a glimpse of the glory of God, as well as what would happen in the future. They got a little peek of who Jesus truly was. They saw Jesus in his truest form. He was the Son of God. He was God. and they got a preview of what was going to happen. Jesus would come back one day in his glorified body and bring a new kingdom on earth.
You're powerful. You're unshakable. You're powerful. You're unshakable. You shake me. You break me. You make me whole again. Your nature, unchanging, all fails, but you remain. You're powerful. You're unshakable. You're powerful. You're unshakable. You shake me, you break me, you make me whole again. Your nature, unchanging, all fails, but you remain. You're powerful. You're unshakable. You're powerful. You're unshakable. You're powerful. You're powerful. You're powerful. You're powerful.
In today's story, we got to see the amazing moment of Jesus' transfiguration. Peter, James, and John got to see the full glory of Jesus. And in that moment, the divinity and glory of Jesus was put on full display. He shows us that he is fully man, but also fully God. Now, I'm not exactly sure what Jesus looked like in that moment, but the Bible tells us that his face shone like the sun and his clothes became white as light. Light was all around. And you know what? I found a science experiment where we can make our own lava lamps. Lava lamps are a cool kind of light. They look like this. For our experiment, we'll need a glass jar, some vegetable oil, water, food coloring, and Alka-Seltzer tablets. The first thing we're gonna do is fill our jar about halfway up with vegetable oil. Then I'm gonna take the water and I'm gonna fill about 3/4 of the way of the jar with the rest of the water. Next, it's time to add food coloring. And finally, we're gonna drop in the Alka-Seltzer tablet. It might take just a second to get started, but keep your eyes peeled close, because once it gets going, it's really cool. There it goes. Do you guys see it? You see how the colors are coming up? Once the bubbles start, you can add some more color if you want. And what's cool about this is when the bubbles stop, you can just add another tablet and it starts right back up again. Now, this really isn't any light that really would light up a whole room, but the truth is the light that Jesus shone was 100% real. In fact, there was no darkness at all, only complete light. He was showing us that he is the light of the world.
Extreme close-up. See if you can figure out what's inside each extreme close-up picture.
When Jesus took his 3 best friends on top of the mountain to pray, they were shocked at all that happened there. First, Jesus' appearance completely changed. Light shone from his face and his clothes turned dazzling bright white. But that wasn't all. Suddenly, Moses and Elijah appeared and began talking to Jesus about the special work he was going to do when he got to Jerusalem. Moses and Elijah? Who are they? Well, they were 2 well-known historical figures that had already gone to heaven a long time ago. Why were they there on the mountain with Jesus? I think we're going to need to rewind just a bit to understand the importance of Moses and Elijah being on the mountain with Jesus. Most of you all remember Moses from saving God's people and helping them get out of Egypt. But there was another very important moment in Moses' life when he went up on the mountain and met with God. This is where God gave Moses and his people the 10 Commandments, which is like a set of rules for people to live by. The only problem was that people don't always obey and didn't follow what the 10 Commandments said to do, and that would be sin. People would sin. We all sin. And Jesus was able to provide an answer for the problem of sin. He was the solution. Jesus came and he fulfilled the commandments of the law and did the things the law could not do. Elijah was another outstanding figure in the Old Testament. Elijah was a great prophet. He would hear from God and then he would deliver the message of God's truth to his people. Elijah knew our God was the one true God, and he revealed that to all of his people when he called on God to light a soaking wet altar on fire. And God did it. And the other gods who people had been worshiping, the false gods, they couldn't do such a thing. And when the people saw that God lit that wet altar on fire, they fell on their knees and they began to cry out, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is the real God." And when Elijah appears with Moses at the transfiguration of Jesus, it shows that Jesus fulfills both the prophet and the law. These men being there with Jesus proves who He really is. And if anyone still wasn't certain of Jesus' true identity, when God spoke, that left no room for doubt. The voice of God the Father was heard saying, "This is my Son. I love Him. Listen to Him." And that was proof that Jesus is God's Son. Whoa, that was a lot of information. Let me put it simply for you to say that the appearance of Moses and Elijah on the mountain with Jesus gave evidence that Jesus was the one that the law and the prophets spoke of. And then God, speaking out for all to hear, confirmed the true identity of Jesus. Jesus is God's Son. Jesus is God.
Movie.
Sure was, and I still like the previews, but you know what? The movie was even better.
You know, it's kind of like how the disciples finally got to see Jesus in all His glory up in the mountain. They had listened to Him teach and had seen Him do so many amazing miracles. But when they got to that mountaintop and Jesus began to shine, that's when they saw His full glory. The transfiguration is when they went beyond all the previews and saw Jesus in His truest form. They saw that He was God.
Incredible!
See you next time!